Audio Jungle.
Set your destination, eyes on the road, and push that accelerator. That's what probably goes through when we are actually driving on the road, possibly on ORR. I love highway driving. That's my favorite getaway. What makes most fascinating and exciting for me in this journey, beyond the tar roads and the vehicles metering ahead, is the endlessness of these roads. For me, personally, driving gives a sense of abundance that allows me to explore new areas, new opportunities, and the possibilities. And the steering wheel holds the power of potential mobility, direction, and control. I learned driving when just 16 years ago, and some of you, age of 16. It was mainly to drive my daughters for their after-school activities. For them, as toddlers, it was the toy cars were very confident for them, and for me, it was not so much with my real car. On a lighter note, think about it. What I observed was that honking is just not an action, it's a language. Did you? Anyways, we became the girls' gang on the road exploring. And as a working mother, the need of the hour for me with a limited time was to go around and be there with them to curate the moments. And this action was the best choice for me. If you think about it, attributes drive action, actions drive results, and results drive lifestyle. Let me decode my attitude, ACTitude. It's a combination of attitude and the action, and it's been a part of the phrase the why and the why not. And it's mainly my mantra that helps me assess my choices. Academically, I was not a high performer, and this resulted to some of the adjustment that I had to do with the choices. However, I learned to take risks that would allow me to define both the success and the failure. I owned them because those were the choices result of my whys and the why nots. This is what taught me to focus on flexing my attitude, choose the actions, correct the actions, and at times go back and reflect on it. It may sound funny. One of the tests of these driving, I failed when I recently went for my license renewal. What I mean, just think about it. Somebody who's driven for 16 years and couldn't pass a driving test, unbelievable, right? I get it. But life has surprises, and this was one such surprise. Apparently, so might be the driving test too. Choices and experiences are what life is made of. So what is it that about the experience of driving that has such a grip on me? The stories from my past, the view of my present, and the vision of the future is very similar to the car and the driving experience. Something that resonated with me in this analogy is there's a reason why you have a rear view mirror so small and the windshield so big. Where we are headed is what is most important than what we have left behind. For me, the steering wheel is the present that allows me to navigate to a beautiful tomorrow while living the now. Let me explain how, but I'm going to actually count on a strength that you and I hold. It's called pattern recognition and connecting the dots. Let's go for it in parts. First, we will define what's the why, what's the what and where, and the how. So let's discuss the why. The windshield, to me, is like that crystal ball that allows you to use and predict the future. And in this context, it's the road ahead of me leading to my destination. It's how I visualize my goal and understand the journey ahead. And there are two inherent needs, the why, which is very important to me. One is social impact, and 2, having a vision. Let me actually give you with some of the examples and why those matter to me and how is it that helpful for me in my future. And you will have to imagine this. This is during 1980s. I know you were not born, but some of your parents or grandparents would have talked about it. Every household started to get their TV, and this TV would have only one channel telecasted. This was the national channel. And there are these 20-second commercials would actually be a part of any of these TV shows, which will be the stop gap for people to go and pick and do something. And now, that's the same 20-second is a part of your reel. And there are times when you're watching these reels and you voluntarily choose to stay awake and maybe up to 3 a.m. and you realize that, oh my God. What I want to get your attention out here is that I'm sure most of these reels will have those ideas or something that resonated with you or stayed back for you to change your life. There is something like that that changed my attitude. And this is about this one TV commercial ad. And this ad, during that time, this is about the Tata jingle. And the 20-second ad would talk about the Tata initiatives in the community. And the lens that they had was of the inclusivity. In that 20-second ad, less than 2 seconds was used for calling out who they are and what they do as business. So it'll end with just the saying, we also make steel. That stayed back with me. And why was that important to me? I realized that 20:2 is the efficiency and efficacy ratio. Very important. Who I am, what I bring as a value, and the value, how it translates to in the larger segment is the minuscular piece. And it is almost like the drop in the ocean. The drop is like the ripple effect. It has a short life, but you're actually looking forward for another ripple effect to continue on it. For me, the social impact became a part of my everyday work that I would do. I would look for those places where there's a purpose and how do I blend it to it. This intentional effort became a part of me, and I want to give you an example what transpired to it. There's a story close to my heart. It's a program, leadership development program, that I've been a part of it from conceptualizing to bringing it to life. And this leadership development program is for a sector of principals, and we actually covered close to 900 principals and impacting 10 lakh students as such. And these principals are the ones who needs to be groomed to be almost operating like the CEOs of the firm, because the principal impact both the student and the faculty life. So better educator, brighter future. That was the concept. But that's not the part that I was more impressed to take it up. It was the profound thing that happened in the classroom and the breakouts. When these people come together and they had their own journey of struggle, challenges, and in the breakout, they would start discussing. They would start discussing about the journey, the struggles, and how they would bring change. And by the end of the session, they would come together committing to help each other. Think about it. Change has a ripple effect. And we decide to be either a catalyst, follower, or an audience. It's the situation that defines. Have you thought about it? Which role do you play? And which time of the situation you change the role? Now, let me talk about the other inherent need that I have. The inherent need for me to have a vision. It's very important. I realized that I have a difficulty concentrating. What it means that it'll have an impact on my daily life. It could be working, it could be completing my task, relationship with my family, or even studying, trying to remember. What I figured out is that if I'm actually going to build a vision which is very strong, it will continue to keep me motivated. The intention of not letting go will not happen because I'm always charged looking at the big picture. And that's how these two elements became a part of me. And that's what I call it as the crystal ball. And you need to define what does that mean to you. For me, the need to do more and almost do more than the full plate was always there. You see, I told you that I have that element of concentration. I struggle with concentration, so I would need more and more. And there are these times when I would actually look at what is my plate full of and what is it that I need to drop. And what matters to me was the one that would help me evaluate these choices. Again, the why and the why not. Let me actually talk about the next part of the car analogy. We spoke about the why. Now let's handle the what and the where. It's very important for us. The steering wheel is almost like the strategies. It is designed to guide the entire vehicle in a different direction. And think about it, based on how much the driver rotates it, that's how it'll take you. So you decide it. You see, the analogy is almost like the strategies. As you travel more on these roads, you would be able to define a pattern to the road, what works well and what would take you to a right destination per se. And that's what defines us as we move forward. Let me give you with an example. There was this role one gets to design program as a leadership development program. Professional, I get to design these programs. So you need to actually define what is it that people would want to change, which is your destination, and how would they reach, because every person has a way of learning, and that learning is almost the adaptive learning. And then you define the objectives and the journey to reach to that point. And that's how I look at it, that we always have those opportunities to look at what's the destination, how do I reach to the journey, and how does the steering wheel would help me, and what's the pace that I would take it to reach to that journey. There was another example that I would want to share. In my current role, during pandemic, we were to design a world-class facility which would not just meet the design principle, but it also would stay relevant for years to come. Very difficult task during pandemic because you can't go see what is there, can't bring people to talk about it. However, we did that, and what gave me more profound experiences and humbling experiences, how we designed today, it is a global site and there are other campuses that actually get inspired from it. Another thing which stayed with me in my journey of the why and the why not and why it mattered to me was that I've been with the firm for 20 years, and it's very easy for you, being a learning and development professional for 20 years, get bored. My mentor actually helped me identify that you can create inconsistency and still stay consistent. Let me help you understand what is that twist. So consistency is important, but in order for you to stay true to that and stay aligned to it, bring those changes, and those are the inconsistencies that will help you stay creative and stay inconsistent and not get bored easily. Now let's talk about the how part of it. We discussed the why, the what, now let's look at the how. To me, accelerator is the how, the operating tool. The dominance of automatic cars in the recent year helps us pace according to the road ahead. Similarly, we adjust our approach based on the challenges. So think of this as one's uniqueness and a clear choice. I like to leave my mark on anything that I pick. And my husband teases me that I would actually not leave, whether it is the jewelry or the dress designing, because I would want to customize it, not just do a straight fit as such. And what it means is that this actually helped me have not just the mark leaving, but gives me a feeling that I'm celebrating some of those small wins. And there are those resets and failures, I'm actually readjusting to it. The last part of this analogy, the rearview mirror. It's good to glance back to see how far we've come and to gather any learnings that makes this come to life. But let's be honest, if you are like one of my friend who actually uses the rearview mirror to set hair, priorities, right? You will figure out how much time you're actually watching the traffic versus what you're trying to do ahead of you or having the control over your wheel. This reminds me of a quote, "What got you here won't get you there," from Marcia Goldsmith. Now, wrapping up with a thought for you to reflect. What makes you come alive? In a world where technology enables every experience of a product or a service, and AI is defining the pace of change, what makes you unique as a human? What are you letting go, living on, and looking for? As an introvert who can easily escape spotlight, standing here on the TED stage is beyond an obvious choice for me. Life is easier when nobody is watching you, because I felt I have so much time to do what matters to me. However, this is the time. It was not that I said I won't, but I said why not? And that got me here to be with you all of. What is your why not? Do you have a why? Do you have a why not? Think about it.